Hi, I am Karen and welcome to the Creator Studio here in the Fave Biz Society. And today I am just thrilled that Margaret Elizabeth Spencer is going to be joining us and talking about brand personality. And I was telling her, we have not talked about this. This is so important to your business. And she has been in that field for many, many years. And we're going to tap into her expertise today. And Margaret, I'm going to hand it over to you and let you introduce yourself and lead us through the workshop.
Great. Thank you. Should I share now? Or am I? Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good to go.
Okay. Oh, sorry. It went mute on me.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you. Okay. All righty. So let's see here.
Margaret, you want to just give a little introduction so the ladies get to know you a little bit?
Yeah, you bet. So my name is Margaret Elizabeth Spencer, and I have been someone who's started my career out in graphic design, and I have been working with branding for many years. I had a design agency for over 10 years, and I worked with big corporations such as Nike, Intel. I designed logos for big companies such as Microsoft, Portland Electric. I've done a tremendous amount of logo work and branding, print work, as well as web design. So I did that for many, many years. I have transitioned into several different type of creative businesses over the years. And recently I've been working on a project called Defrost Seattle, which is a fun project that I am very passionate about warming up the Seattle freeze. And so I'm kind of going back to my, Karen was mentioning that we haven't had anything on in the Creator Studio around branding. So I'd love to share with you some of the experience I've had with branding and share with you some insights that might help you with your business. So if it's okay, I'm going to see if I can figure out how to share here. Oh, here we go, down here, share screen. Okay. So let's see here. If I share there, then there's Zoom. What I want to do is share Wix. Okay. So can you see my monitor here? So this is a logo I designed for Microsoft. It was for their analytics and insights, cloud and enterprise. And it's very simple, Mark, but it really does show you how, just the simplicity can really bring in, something that's memorable and really scale down and communicates, what the client wanted. I believe on the next screen here, let's see, there we go. This shows an example of some of the concepts that that we work on to get to the point of developing a logo. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what branding is, and it's so much more than just a logo, but this is just to give you an idea of some of my background in branding and how this works. So with this example here, there were 6 concepts that I worked up for the client. And we go through several processes of interviews and iterations before we come up with the final logo design. So this gives you an example of what one of those iterations looks like. This one is an example of when we've narrowed it down from usually there's 3 different rounds of revisions, and then we come to a logo that they like and make those changes. A lot of people, some of you ladies may recognize this brand. This is Nibio, and I helped Nicolette rebrand herself as the Dutch designer. So this was a fun logo design. But there's been so many different logos over the years that I've designed, and these are just kind of a few examples of those. Just wanted to share this with you guys. Branding is just something that is, I feel, so important. So this is the business design that I had created for my own personal brand design lab. And that's where you'll see a lot of the work that I'm using in this presentation. So wanted to share that with you. I used to work for Nike. I did a lot of branding work as well when I worked for Nike, both design and illustration. So I don't think I can, my window is hidden behind here. So I can't get, oh, well, I was going to show you some more, but I can't get through there. But what I'll do is I'll pull up the presentation now. So, okay, so here is the beginning of our Creator Studio presentation. And now branding is something that a lot of people think is just a logo, but it's really so much more than that. It involves everything that you do with your business. It's a total, persona of a whole new, it's a whole new look on, almost like a person, like when you start your business and you have an entity that you open up. And when you form that entity, you are creating this whole other person. So sometimes when I talk to people about when they're branding themselves, they need to think about branding two things. One is their business and the other is themselves. So you have two things you're branding often. And a lot of people don't look at it that way, but you really do have your own person and your own personality. And then your business has its own persona and personality as well. So Seth Goodwin, he wrote a lot of books on branding, and he says that a brand is a set of expectations, memories, stories, and a relationship that's taken together an account for a consumer's decision whether to choose one product or service over the other. So it's just, branding is such an important thing that it really does make someone decide, why should they choose you? And it gives them that answer of the why. It's so important, so key, and it's really difficult sometimes to explain to people, all the work that goes behind it. And if you think about, why you use one brand over another, you will, everyone has like their favorite products, and such as Karen was talking about, a favorite mascara, what makes that product your favorite choice. And sometimes could be what does that brand stand for? Sometimes it's their political alignment. Sometimes it is that they're just a really cool brand, like such as Starbucks. People like just to be associated with that brand. They want to be in that brand and hang out there. And other times people want to be part of a brand because, it just aligns with their personal viewpoint. So, let's take a look at some big corporations' brand personalities. So different brands create a feeling, such as sincerity. So here we have Disney, Hallmark, Amazon, and Cadbury. These are all brands that make you feel like they really have your best interest in mind. There's a sincerity behind this brand. You feel like you want to trust them. They've built a long-term relationship with you over years. And notice how these marks have a lot of rounded corners. Notice the similarities between all four of these marks on the top. They have a softness to them, which really creates a warm, welcoming, sincere feeling. The next level here we have is excitement for this personality. And this is like Tesla, Red Bull, Coca-Cola, Nike. And one thing you might notice about all four of these marks is they're very action oriented. They have kind of a movement to them. They all are, I guess 3 out of the 4 are kind of slanted even, that show an indication of movement. They also are using brighter colors like red, a very powerful color. So there's a lot of details went into these marks to create the personality that would be more of excitement. And then there's competence. Now, blue is often the color that's used for competence. It is means kind of gives people that feeling of security. So people use color. We use color a lot as designers to create an emotion and a feeling. And we also use lines and tones and shapes. So here we have Volvo, Google, Intel, and Microsoft, all representing brands that make you feel that they're very competent. And you notice here that there's a lot of structure and there's a lot of straight lines. There's a lot of organization, feelings of organization with this, and that creates the sense of that feelings of competency. Then we have sophistication. Tiffany and Company, Rolodex, Gucci, and Apple all create our brands that give you that feeling of that this is a very sophisticated mark. And they've used like, you know, some serif fonts. They've used like a crown to indicate sophistication. And sometimes it's just simplicity too, can create that illusion of sophistication. Last thing you have here is ruggedness. So these are like tougher brands. You've got your rugged, tough brands. You've got Harley Davidson, Timberland, Jeep, and Marlboro. So these are brands that, and you notice how the colors have become more subdued, a little more serious. So you've got, you know, a little more of a muted tones. You have, you know, black. We have a little more of a heavy font feel too, like boldness. And it just has almost like a little more of a masculine feel as well. So each one of these brands, you know, when you see them and you think about them, you're thinking about not just the feel of that mark, but they've spent years in building this reputation. So you've got years and years of this reputation. But what is this reputation and why do we feel a certain way? There's so many things that go into it. There is so many layers here. So we're gonna go to a whole different layer. Oops. So there's a whole personality behind the brand. So each one of these brands has a personality, and it goes even deeper than the first level that we were talking about. And here we have, everyone wants people to desire their brand. So if you look at this wheel, it starts with desire and it goes out to the categories of explorer, spirituality. We have leaving a legacy. We have pursuing connection and providing structure. So the next level then is safety, knowledge, freedom, liberation, power, mastery, intimacy, enjoyment, belonging, service, control, and innovation. And then there's a whole nother deeper level of this brand, which is innocence, sage, explorer, outlaw, magician, hero, lover, jester, everyman, caregiver, ruler, and creator. So you may want to think, you know, where would your brand sit on this wheel? Think about what type of personality do you want to communicate to people about who you are as a brand. Oftentimes we don't think about the perception that we're creating and what it takes to build these layers of communication. And it's really nonverbal communication. And people may not, you know, always think of, oh, you know, such as Nike is the hero or Apple is like a creator. These are subliminal messages that are used in the these words can be used in like taglines. They can be used in just the voice. And we're going to talk a little bit more later about the voice and how you create a voice for your brand. But there is definitely different feelings that we're creating when we create the different levels of layers that you need to create your brand. So there's the personality, the voice, and the tagline, and those are parts of the persona. And that's what we're going to focus on today. So let's talk. Oh, and I did put a handout in that you guys can use. And this handout I will show copy in a few slides down. But if you guys wanted to print that out, I just wanted to let you know that it's sitting there in the comments section. And so let's talk about a tagline. A tagline is something that gives people a deeper message of what your brand is, because you don't always give people everything in the name of the product. Sometimes the name of the product will is it great for a mark? It's great for memorabilia, but it may not be that thing that's going to give you the full description and the feel that you really want for that product or that brand. So what we'll do is we'll create a tagline. A tagline should be about 3 to 6 words. You want to work on brainstorming words that you think are really powerful. Going back to like that last slide of, thinking about what are the underlying messages that you and feel that you want your brand to have, and brainstorm 10 words. Then put these words, pull different words that you might find either on testimonials or on your business plan. And if you compile those words together, then you can start putting together a small, it doesn't have to be a complete sentence. It could just be 3 powerful words, or 6, but it's just more of something else to give your brand a deep, or your consumer for your brand, a deeper understanding of what is it that you're wanting to communicate to them. So you really want to make sure that it resonates, that's descriptive, and that it's sticky. Sticky is really meaning that people are going to share this from one person to the next. So it sticks from one person, loves the tagline, they may then repeat it to other people, such as Nike's "Just Do It." You might say, to other people, "Oh, just do it," and that starts to becoming something that's sticky because people just want to share that. It's such a fun thing to say. So think about that. And so just do it. That's 3 words. Yeah, it's very simple. So simplicity here is really the key to your taglines. And then the next, I'm sorry about that. I'm having a hard time with my my little cursor here. Okay, there we go. Voice. So voice is the words you use. So it's not just your logo. It's not just, it's not your website. Your brand is also your voice. And that covers all of the text communications. It's the tone in which you talk when you either speak or you write and you have words on your website. It's all of those parts that is your voice. So here's an example of some raspberries. Now there's many ways that you could choose to describe this bowl of raspberries, but some people will have a different approach depending on what their brand is. Their brand voice may, describe them as yummy, delicious, red raspberries. And other people might say, "Oh, this is so, luscious and alluring," and, it just might be a little more seductive with another voice brand. And another voice brand might just be really cheery, personality and persona. And so they might, talk about these raspberries as, "Oh, it's very, light, and, these raspberries are so bright and colorful and really bring us joy, just a little more bubbly." You may have a more rugged brand that would, talk about these in a little more of a, rough way. So I'm not a copywriter, but hopefully you get the point. It's really about thinking about your brand message and your brand voice and tone. So this is what my handout is indicates here. And the handout is about your brand personality. One thing that people really forget about is how when you build a brand, it's just like building a person. So when you created that entity, you named it. And you needed to put together the whole person, this whole personality persona. So let's look at what happens when you create a logo. When you create a logo, you are making really the face of your brand. And that face is what people see, and they see it all the time. And it's really important to use your logo consistently and to make sure you don't skewer it or distort it. You want it to be protected and valued, and make sure there's nice buffer space around it so it never looks crowded, and protect that logo, because that's like the face of your brand. And it is the first thing that people are going to see, and the first thing that people will think of when they think of you. So it's just like with someone's face, it's really their brand logo. So the other part of your entity that you started is like clothing. So your clothing is how you dress this. How do you dress your brand? So that, and the examples here would be graphics that you use to communicate what your brand persona is. So, so example, like, maybe there's, here we got coral spots and some stripes. And so maybe this coral stripe combo is something that you use in your websites, in your design, but it's a consistency. So it's really about using things that are in keeping consistent with that brand. So everything that you dress your brand in, which would be like your design aesthetics on your website, would be part of the clothing that you're dressing your persona in. So that persona has, the clothing, which is all the details. It even can be a photo style. Some people can use a type of a style of photography that might even create that logo, or the clothing persona. Or those pieces could be colors. It could be a certain color palette that you use. But all of these are design elements that are being used on a consistent basis to create your personal brand. Then you have your voice, which is just like what this persona would be speaking. So all the voice things that are kind of catchy things that you might always say. Maybe it's certain words, certain phrases. It could be just the tone that you're using when you speak in your written form or your verbal communications. So you want to make sure to name this persona. So you take all these elements together, your tagline, your voice, your personality, and you can look back on the previous slides back here, if you want to look back here, and really think about like which one of these words really more represents your brand's personality, and think about how you can expand on that. And so here you have a personality choice, you have your voice, you have your tagline, and all these elements come together, and then it creates your brand personas. Now, there's so much that so many details. What you can do here is you can print out that printout I gave you, and you can even kind of cut apart this little paper doll and put on you can put actually your logo into the face area. You could write some text in the voice area up there that is some words and verbiage that represents your personal brand and your brand persona. You can take some of the elements from your website and cut them out as the clothing and put little parts on this little paper doll. And you can name this doll, because really getting clear on your brand is really also having sort of an avatar of who you're speaking to. So that's just one of the many parts of creating a really strong brand. But if you put this all together, this is just a little something that you could have, cut it out and put it next to your desk, and remember, just to remind yourself, what is your brand? What is the voice, the image you're trying to portray, so that you can create a consistent, memorable image. And that's really what it comes down to, is consistency in branding. The other aspects of a brand, there's actually a lot more here. We've got also your brand positioning, which is involves your goals. What are you trying to achieve with your brand? What are you hoping that someone is going to think when they think of you, and kind of set out some of these high level goals? What is the market that you're going into? Who is your audience? What are the values of your business? because just like a person, and just like going back to the whole concept of an entity and a separate entity, like a person, that person would have values. They would have a vision. They will have a purpose. So just like a human. And that's why, as you know, in the beginning, I had mentioned, you have two things that you're branding. You're branding yourself and you're branding your business. And hopefully there's some, correlation between these two brands and some similarities, because this is, a brand that you've created, but it does stand alone as its very own, image of its and personality and persona and all of it in itself. So so you have your core of your brand, you have your positioning, your brand positioning, and you have your brand persona. So I was really focusing today on really talking about the brand persona and building and how to build that out. One thing that I'm going to offer is a branding design workshop type lab. And this is where we can kind of deep dive and help you come up with a stronger brand personality, that core brand, the core of your brand. What is the core? Your brand plan and a brand positioning. And a brand plan, which is really what this really is it's really every aspect of your brand in a lot deeper way. It will give you a roadmap of what to think of, how to really see your brand in a strong way. And it's really about clarity. Clarity is such a key thing with a brand, because if it's not clear on what you are putting out there, then people don't know if they should attach, to you, and if they should follow you. So once you get super clear on who you are, what you're developing, what your unique differentiator is, then people really do kind of opt in. It's attraction marketing versus, pull marketing versus push marketing. So in this workshop, we would be working on going deeper on and really allowing you to walk away with something that was more evolved, and a written document that would be your brand plan, and contains all of these elements, where we create your target customer and really hone in on your vision and values and purpose and all those other wonderful things I just mentioned. And I'm only doing this for the Fave Biz Society ladies. And it's and so if you're interested in doing this, please reach out to me. You can message me. But I think we're ready to open it up to any questions.
Fabulous. Thank you, Margaret. This was really wonderful. Boy, that just makes your perspective and your mind kind of expand on what all is really involved in creating these pieces, and to be so thoughtful about it. So if we can stop sharing the screen, that'd be great, so we can see the ladies in case they have some questions, because I can't see them out here. Yes, so does anyone have a question? I do. I'll start.
Yeah.
Okay. So, one of the things I was wondering, Margaret, was that tagline, because I was really concentrating on the lifestyle piece, and we had, our tagline there. But now because, a lot of times you expand, you add programs or another business under the umbrella of your big company or whatever. So with your tagline, would you kind of try out just some things to see kind of what sticks? As you're starting out, because a lot of the women here are just starting their businesses, or in the first few years, or maybe even 5 or whatever, but maybe they haven't really found a tagline that really has worked for them.
Right. Brainstorming a tagline, it does take, it takes a lot of effort, because you really do want to get it right. Something that, people are going to want to share. But there's nothing wrong with putting a few of them together and testing your audience. I always think that's a great way to pull the audience, put it out on social media, see what people think. You want something that's really going to, resonate with people, something that people are going to want to share, and represents really very true to what you want people to think of when they think of your brand. Because a lot of times people's brands are one word, such as fave, and you want it to people when they read the tagline to just kind of go, oh, I get it. I get what they really do and what they really stand for. And everything kind of comes into that. A tagline just should be super powerful, but very succinct.
Very cool. Does anyone else have a question? I've got lots of them, but.
Well, I am in the process of rebranding, but under the same auspice, and changing my focus a little bit. So my original tagline, well, both taglines have been with me. One of them has been emphasized more than the other. The first one was Twin Peaks Nutrition and Wellness, offering decades of expertise guiding trusted wellness and supplement choices. Okay, so that was focusing on expertise. The second one was the Community Hub of Health and Wholeness. That's where I'm switching to. I want people to, on every front, to think, where do you go for wellness? Where do you go for health? Where do you go for fitness? Where do you go for fun events? So the Community Hub of Health and Wholeness.
Yeah, I like the way the second one is a lot more succinct.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important. For people to remember things and share them. It's easier when they're shorter.
Right.
Yeah. So I think,
and I'm still using the same logo,
Mhm.
but I am changing the name from Twin Peaks Nutrition and Wellness to Twin Peaks Wellness Boutique. And the idea of it being small, intimate, and getting away from the idea of a GNC. I don't want to be known as the local GNC.
Right.
Boutique seems to me, it speaks more of intimacy. It speaks more to more style, so to speak. It's not just your run-of-the-mill supplement store.
Yeah, you wouldn't think of GMC as being a boutique. So I think that's a good point to differentiate yourself with words like that when it comes to nutrition. People don't usually say boutique and nutrition in the same phrase. So I think that's a great differentiator. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Good job. Yeah, I think we have another question.
Yeah, so mine, I've gone through so many different ones, but I like this one. And so it's igniting your dreams within.
Yeah, I think that sounds really good. And what do you do? Because I don't know.
So I'm a healer, hypnotherapist, Reiki master, spiritual coach.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the people I work with perhaps have gone through life changes, really no longer know who they are, who they're becoming, or they've had trauma in their lives or whatever it is, and stuff gets stuck within them. And they want to uncover this so they can make that self-discovery.
Right. So uniting, what was it again?
Igniting your dreams within.
Your dreams within. Yeah, I mean, you might want to, you may want to add another word that's maybe a little more descriptive is what I might recommend. Just because you think about, like, if people didn't know what you do, could that be for another business? Could that be for like a travel company? So you may want to think of maybe a word, brainstorm on a word that might bring it a little closer to home to what you actually do.
I'll have to give that some thought. I've had many variations to this.
I know. And it is an evolving process. I think that one of the things is don't put too much pressure on yourself. And like Karen mentioned, over time, change them out. And sometimes you may want to, it's not uncommon for big corporations as well to change their taglines every couple of years because their mission is sort of shifting and evolving. So that's That's not a, it's not a problem, but it's something we continue to work on and get more and more clarity. But I think, yeah, I really like the words in your tagline. It just feel like you need one more word that.
I think at one point I had the word innermost, igniting your innermost dreams within, but I don't even know if that still doesn't explain what I do. So
Yeah, and I would go back to your, when people, your testimonials where people said
okay.
about you, and go back to your business plan and things like that, and look for words, hunt for words that really pop out at you that are more descriptive, maybe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So this has been really good because I've never really had a solid tagline. I've always thought about it, but my business is Brenda Reese coaching, right? So it's like, well, what's that? So, and then always saying I'm a forgiveness coach, but I've used step into your power for a while, but it's like, well, what does that mean? So this has been interesting because was it last year or a year and a half ago? Resentments, right? Were coming up a lot. So releasing resentment, finding peace. So that's what I was using kind of as a little tagline. So yeah, this has got me kind of curious.
Well, I think for you, Brenda, I mean, you're known as the forgiveness coach, though. So, I mean, honestly, I would pretty much go with that. I would not overcomplicate it. I think you might be overthinking it a little much because I think that's power right there, that you are the forgiveness coach, and there's really no one else like that in this area.
Yeah.
And that really says it all.
Oh, that's good.
So maybe it doesn't need to be anything super fancy, because it's just really being really short and succinct. And every time people see that, and it's that repetition, forgiveness coach associated with your name, seeing that over and over and over again, it's that repetition. It's going to drive that home with people and make them share it more too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's true. Because people go, oh, you're that forgiveness lady.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, because, and you may be tired of hearing that, but in thinking maybe you want to spice it up, but sometimes it's just keeping it simple is smartest way to go about it.
I prefer simple. I overthink way too many things.
Don't we all?
Yes. Oh, good. Thank you. I really like this.
Well, ladies, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of turn off the recording here, but I just wanted to thank Margaret. We can still stay and ask some more questions, but I just want to wrap this up. Margaret, thank you. And I hope that the ladies who see this take advantage of that special for you. And just wanted to say thanks so much, because there's so much here to think about and to create that personality. And I had no idea that you should be doing one for your business and for you. So many good little tips here to think about.
Absolutely.
Any parting words as we close this out?
Thank you.
All righty. Here, I'm going to hit
from me. Anything else? No, I say, be true to your brand. Everything you do, just be sure to, make sure it aligns with your brand and your intentions.
Excellent. Thanks, Margaret.
Thank you.